What's up guys, welcome back to CS2 Daily. I hope you're all having a great day. Day 3 of the Blast Open London did not disappoint. fnatic breezed past ECSTATIC to stay alive. M80 sent Virtus.pro packing. Vitality booked their spot at Wembley after beating GamerLegion. And FaZe punched theirs too, with broky putting on a clutch clinic against NAVI. A massive day of action, so drop a sub and a like if you're enjoying the daily coverage. I'd really appreciate it. Let's get straight into it. Okay, so we kick things off today with fnatic versus ECSTATIC, and fnatic cruised past in a 2-0 to stay alive in London, taking Ancient 13-8 and Mirage 13-7, with Cypher absolutely stealing the spotlight. On Ancient, fnatic got rolling early with solid holds across the map. Cypher was a wall on the B side, shutting down executes with multi-kills and even clutching up when needed, including this ace that we're looking at right here. Fear led by example as well, closing out a round with a 4K. ECSTATIC had a couple of moments of their own, but the T sides just had no depth, and fnatic were always one step ahead. They closed the Ancient out 13-8. Moving on to Mirage, it was more of the same. Cypher once again dismantled B plays with a huge 4K, and he just kept piling on the pressure. fnatic did have some sloppy moments, including one round loss to the clock where Analele literally just sat in a smoke and let the timer run out, but beyond that, fnatic never looked troubled. Jambo and Crims chipped in with key frags, and by the time Cypher closed Mirage at 13-7, he was sitting at an insane 49 and 23 scoreline with 122 ADR and a 1.92 rating. Absolutely dominating the server and putting on for the hometown. fnatic now advanced in a lower bracket while ECSTATIC are eliminated. And with Cypher in this kind of form, they've at least got the firepower to make this tournament a little interesting. Which then leads us to the second game of today, and that was Virtus.pro versus M80. And Virtus.pro's nightmare season just keeps getting worse, this time falling to M80 in a 2-1 elimination series. On Overpass, Virtus.pro actually looked like their old selves. Their CT side was locked down from start to finish, with IC and Electronic shutting the door on M80 time and time again. The North Americans barely had a lock-in, scraping just 4 rounds total, as Virtus.pro run away with a 13-4 stomp. At that point it looked like business as usual, but that's where it all fell apart. Dust2 flipped the script immediately. Lake was everywhere, tearing apart the A defense with big multi-kills. And Virtus.pro's T side completely collapsed. Slow and predictable, and M80 punished them over and over. A 13-6 scoreline put M80 back in control, and suddenly Virtus.pro was staring down elimination. Mirage started with some hope. Virtus.pro strung together a few CT rounds and flirted with a comeback, but Hex delivered the dagger with this insane 200 IQ play, sneaking under IC scope with a filthy lurk. He shut the door on any recovery, and from there they closed the game out 13-9, and Virtus.pro were out. Just when you thought it couldn't get worse for Virtus.pro, it did, or it got better depending on how you look at it. Hours after that loss to M80, the org officially announced that Dennis Electronic Sharapov has been benched. This move comes just 16 months into his time with Virtus.pro, a stint that started with huge hype after he left Cloud9, but ended with the same storyline, high expectations and no real results. In fact, since the break, it's been one disaster after another. Last place at Fisher Playground, out early at IEM Cologne, out early at the Esports World Cup, and now crashing out to M80 here in London. The CEO even admitted they couldn't build a team that could consistently fight for top positions, which really says it all. He says here, Dennis is one of the most experienced and decorated players in the world. Unfortunately, we weren't able to build a team together that could consistently fight for top positions at the biggest tournaments. I'd like to thank him for the journey we shared, no matter how difficult it was at times. Big thanks to Dennis for his genuine motivation and his readiness to take on the responsibility of being the team's captain. And then they go on to say the name of our 5th player will be announced soon, so stay tuned. So very interesting. Seems like Virtus.pro are fed up of the inconsistency, rightfully so, and are now deciding to make some changes. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so on to the next match. We had Vitality versus GamerLegion, and Vitality are the first team locked in for the Blast Open London Finals at Wembley. They take down GamerLegion 2-1. That also means Mezzi is guaranteed a home crowd behind him on stage, which is a huge storyline going into playoffs. Series kicked off on Train, where Vitality's CT side looked airtight. They stormed to an 8-1 lead early, with Apex pulling off a huge triple kill to shut down one of GamerLegion's best chances. GamerLegion did claw some rounds back late, but Zyru stepped up with a crisp op 4K that basically sealed it. 13-9, Vitality take the opener. And then we head over to Inferno. On Inferno, things flipped. Vitality started strong again, but once GamerLegion stole away a half-buy round, the momentum completely shifted. From there, GamerLegion's T-side looked clean, only dropping a single round on their way to a 13-7 win to tie the series. And that forced a decider on Nuke. And this time Vitality showed why they're still the #1 team in the world. They dominated the T-half with 8 rounds, then shut the door completely on defense. 13-4 easy closeout, and Vitality punched their ticket to Wembley. Zyru led the way with a 1.39 rating across the series. Ropes was right behind with a 1.31 rating and a +5. And Apex actually chipped in with 46 kills as well and a 1.10 rating, which is a rarity. Mezzi there with a -14, pretty bad series from him. All in all, I still think Vitality are playing a bit rough. They're not playing like their usual selves, and I feel like they need to figure it out, man. Then we had the last match of the day, which was FaZe versus NAVI. And FaZe are the second team locked in for the Blast Open London Finals after taking down NAVI 2-0 with broky absolutely stealing the show on both maps. We kicked things off on Mirage and it was pure chaos early. broky pulled off this ridiculous 1v3 clutch. I have to show you guys. He hides from LXCB right here and then picks up a disgusting double at connector to then turn around and finish off LXCB after. Absolutely unreal. But for Navi's new star, Makazi only to fire back with an ace right after this. The two went blow for blow across the map, but the difference came from the backup. FaZe's support car showed up, but Navi on the other hand really only had Makazi firing with M bit quiet all game. FaZe closed Mirage 13-8 and go up 1-0. On Dust 2, it looked like FaZe were about to run away with it. They stormed to an 8-4 half on T side, then Frozen hit a filthy jumping headshot in a 1v1 clutch to push them into the double digits. Navi did rally late. Wonderful pulled off this huge 1v3. And they nearly tied things up, but once again it was broky who iced it with yet another 1v3 clutch of his own, and FaZe locked it down 13-10 and closed the series 2-0. The big takeaway is that broky is back. The Latvian laser ended the series with a 1.65 rating and some of the cleanest clutches we've seen from him in years. After a shaky start to 2025 and even a stint on the bench, he's looking revitalized and like he's ready to be FaZe's main man again. Really impressed with him, like I said in the last video. I really got to give the kid props. But yeah, now FaZe move on to face Vitality in the seeding match, while NAVI drop down to face M80 in a lower bracket elimination game. While we're on that topic, these are Group B's qualification and elimination games for tomorrow. Liquid versus Imperial will be kicking the day off with, and then we'll have FlyQuest versus Legacy, Mouse versus G2, and Spirit versus Furia. So some really good spicy games right there, and I will be covering those, so don't forget to drop a like and subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it, and as always, thanks for watching. Take care.